102 глядачі. О, звук є. Hi. So, just a second, still testing the sound. Hi. Okay, we have about 10 seconds of the lagging here. Can you hear me well? Чи всі мене чують? Звук ок? Чи щось хрустить? Я хрущу? Sorry, still figuring out how to do this from a hallway. We're gonna make it sort of half in English, and I'll say I'll repeat some smaller phrases in Ukrainian so everybody knows what's going on. I'll also try to speak slower, kind of. Звук жахливий чи нормальний? Напишіть. Please write in the chat if the sound is horrible or if it's okay. Okay. Echoing. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's echoing. I'm in the hallway because we have air raid sirens right now, so like air raid alert. So I had to pick the safest place I could in my apartment. If we were in the room I usually do this at, it would have been a bit different. Let me scroll to the beginning of the comments. Okay. Yeah, hello everyone. I can see your comments. Я бачу ваші коментарі. Дякую. Yeah, it is a hallway. Because I'll explain later why we sit in hallways when there's air raid sirens. Anyway, so, я думаю, можна починати. I think it's time to begin. If you guys could show me in the comments how many English-speaking and Ukrainian-speaking people I have in the audience right now, it would be very appreciated. Так, якби ви мені могли показати, скільки є англомовних, україномовних глядачів в чатику, я була б дуже вдячна. Make it a little bit closer. Може, ближче. Maybe that's better. Okay, so we have first questions. У нас є перші питання. I'll tell you a little bit who I am and what I do, in case you don't know. And we're going to start. Also, I would like to remind you that you can find some details in the video description where you can support what I do in this channel. I feel kind of awkward saying this, but we're going through some rough times here in Ukraine economically. So if you feel the need to donate somewhere, you can donate to my channel. I also do some volunteer work, so your money would not go to waste anyway. Дякую всім, хто долучилися українською. Хто не розуміє щось, пишіть в коментарях. So, my name is Melaniya Podolyak. In the previous life, before the 24th of February, I used to be a political consultant, if you will. I used to work in Верховна Рада, in Ukrainian Parliament, in Lviv City Council, some other projects that had to deal with policies and whatnot. But then the 24th of February came, and I happened to join some volunteering efforts. That includes both aid for our military and humanitarian aid for people who are currently either internally displaced persons or people who are currently need help in the occupied or post-occupied territories of Ukraine. I have already received some questions on Twitter, and I will answer those as well. But feel free to leave any of that might be of interest to you in the comments. I have also made myself some notes, some topics that I think that would be interesting to discuss. Also, my dog is like sleeping right here. You can't see her, but in case she can like yelp sometimes because she sleeps and she has dreams, so don't pay attention to that. Anyway, so you have a little bit of an idea of who I am at this point. This YouTube channel was largely concerned with internal Ukrainian politics, if you will, some policies, criticism of the current government before the war. Now, obviously, the situation is a bit different. So yeah, let's look through the comments. Let's read something that's happening right now. So, my good friend Yarem Maduch is in the chat. He's also a YouTuber, has a nice YouTube channel too. If you know Ukrainian language, or if you're learning Ukrainian language, feel free to check it out. And he has asked a question, Melanie, could you briefly describe what you do? It looks like you're packing boxes endlessly. Yeah, so that is my main area of expertise right now. I am currently helping a friend of mine. His name is Serhiy Pritula. He's a Ukrainian politician, and we study together at the master's program of public administration. And he's a big, very famous Ukrainian volunteer since 2014. He has a charitable foundation, and he as a person used to be always a military volunteer during this war. So I'm currently helping his efforts in his foundation. We have a warehouse here in Lviv because, as you know, Lviv has been a sort of humanitarian center, so to speak. We receive aid from different countries because the border is so close. So I've been kind of with my friend Sashko. We both kind of manage that warehouse, in charge of logistics, and those boxes you might have seen on my Twitter and on my Instagram account are the boxes full of humanitarian aid mostly that we send off to different regions in the country. So they either go to KYIV, to our main warehouse, where it is stored and distributed, or it is being sent to places like directly from Lviv, for instance, Mykolaiv, some time ago, Kherson, which is currently occupied. We were able to send some stuff there. Luhansk region, Donetsk region, Kyiv region also, we literally send a busload of things like sanitary aid, food to Bucha. So that's literally what I've been doing. Receiving lorries and trucks and sending them away. So, that is a brief description of what we're doing. Yeah. A good question about whether I am a relative of Mikhailo Podolyak. He works at he's a spokesperson, basically. He works at Office of President. The answer is no, we're not relatives. It's just a family name is the same. Subscribed to you this week after your link was on Twitter. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. I did not know that your mom is deputy, I guess. My mom used to be a deputy. Yes, she used to be a deputy of Verkhovna Rada, Ukrainian parliament, in the last convocation. Later on, after the convocation has ended and there were elections, my mom was deputy minister for culture. And then that government was kind of disbanded by the government, by the president. So she now does her own project concerned with culture. But yes, my mom used to be a deputy in Verkhovna Rada. You need 4,000 hours on YouTube to get monetized. You can get it easy if you stream a few times a week. Yes, so my channel is already my content is being monetized, but still that's, the price per view in Ukraine is still not sufficient with my amount of subscribers and views. So I still largely rely on Patreon donations and donations to my bank accounts that you can find in the description, so feel free to look through that. Where do you learn English? In school and in university and with private tutors, mostly. So let's talk a bit more about Ukraine-Russia war, since that is the topic of this stream, and I think that is very important that we talk about that. I also want to talk a little bit more about Russia, because I feel like what we know about Russia and what the world knows about Russia are still a bit two different things. So I will try to do my best, and I try to do my best on my social media to kind of explain to the Western audiences what Ukraine has lived through in terms of relationships with Russia, and how that is a bit different from what you guys might experience in your daily lives. What do you think about Germany? I have issues with Germany, I'm sorry. I've lived in Germany for a year and a half. I went there on an exchange program to study in Freiburg University, and I had a great time, great university, nice people around me. But my issues with Germany have started a tad after I came back, and that had largely to do with the Nord Stream pipeline, which you might know is a pipeline that would transfer natural gas from Russia to Germany and then distribute it to Europe. The issue with that was that before that, Europe used to use our pipelines, and that way we were kind of needed, so we were important. And Russia, in collaboration with Germany, made it so that in terms of gas distribution, Ukraine was no longer a priority. Therefore, we would then be under severe attacks and severe pressure from Russia. So, and Ukraine has been very vocal about the dangers that Nord Stream 2 poses, not only to Ukraine, but also to Europe, which would then become dependent on Russian gas, and that would undermine the security of the region. Nevertheless, nobody listened. Germany wouldn't, because cheap gas is cheap, money, just business. And now we have what we have. And then the issues go on, because Ukraine has always been, hailed as the corrupt country of Eastern Europe, the underdog. And we've always had these lists of requirements that we had to follow. We had to do all these policies and all these reforms to be part of the cool kids club. And now we have shown that in terms of values, we are, I don't want to say far superior, but at least we know we do what we say and we do what we mean. And this German-Russian collaboration, as well as Germany's unwillingness to supply Ukraine with weapons and supply Ukraine with aid, with military aid, and that's what we need. We need military aid to survive this war. So that has drastically changed my opinion of our Western partners, mainly Germany. And I'm not a big, again, I'm a vocal critic of Ukrainian governments, plural, previous one and this one. I am not the one, in the previous life, I wasn't the one to, kind of protect or support certain things that maybe Ukrainian ambassador in Germany used to say. However, now he's very harsh, but he has a reason to be harsh. And I know Germans are not fond of his criticisms. But it just shows that, we were promised security, and we were given some guarantees. And obviously with the shelling, even my city today was struck by a cruise missile, 6 dead, 11 injured, among them a kid. Shows that, that's not enough, and Germany is not doing enough. And German politicians are getting offended by the words of Ukrainian ambassador, when in reality, we are the ones that should be offended by all the promises that weren't fulfilled. So yeah, that is my opinion of Germany. I hope something changes. I hope that democracy as a concept will help Ukrainians, because apparently, as we have all seen, the public opinion of European countries is able to change the policies of their governments. However, as of now, I feel deeply, deeply sad that we had to lose so much, and we had to lose so many people. We had to lose in 2014, 16, 17. People died during this time for 8 years, shelling, killings. So it saddens me. But I'm somehow still remaining hopeful that we will come back to these arrangements that we used to have. I don't want to sound cynical as well, because it seems to me, and that is an overall opinion in our society, that it somehow feels like progressive Western countries were hoping that Ukraine will lose in the first couple of days, because that would be just so much easier for everyone. You know, Russia installs a proxy government here, or maybe just Ukraine joins Russia, and then everybody can be sad about it, be very concerned, maybe have like talks with the Russian government in Ukraine, send this aid, and you know, the concern of Europeans. However, somehow Ukraine managed to survive and is doing very well, battling one of the largest militaries in the world. So I know it's almost kind of a disappointment to some European politicians. However, you know, it's our country, it's our land, we're going to protect it no matter what. So I hope these politicians are not too sad about Ukraine not winning, not losing in the first days. So yeah, that is a very wide description of what I feel like these days. Yeah. Tell us what you think about presidents and governments' media digital presence since February 24, please. I think they're doing a very good job. I think that I have heard some criticism of President Zelensky that, you know, he has given out so many interviews, none of them are exclusive. He's going on every single TV channel that asks him to, and that kind of, you know, defeats the purpose of unique information. But then I believe that currently my president is doing everything he can for international society not to forget about Ukraine, and B, to explain to the people of those countries, not just because politicians know what we need. As he said in one of the interviews, I think it was with Anne Applebaum, he said, I feel like I'm in the movie Groundhog Day, because every day some president or some prime minister will call me and ask me, what do you need? And I'll keep telling him the same stuff I told them like 2 hours ago. So politicians know what we need. It's more about communicating what we need to the public of our partner countries that can then pressure their own governments to give us, it's mostly concerned with weapons, right? The reason why it's so important, and the reason I think everybody in Europe is freaking out about this, is that we need offensive weapons. Defensive weapons are important, because we still have territories that have to be protected. I mean, all of it, basically. But we also need to kick out Russians that are currently settling in the occupied territories. The longer we wait for the weapons, the more Russians are going to make themselves comfortable in those regions. They're going to establish chain of their supply and their logistics to those parts of the country, to those cities. They're learning also. So it's very important. Ukraine has been successful because we have been learning, our military has been learning since 2014. We had practical approach, sadly. And so Russians are also learning in this war. These 2 months have shown that. So the longer we wait for that support, and the smaller the support is, the bigger problems we'll have in the future. Because if anybody thinks, because I have this feeling that some European politicians think that, well, you know, they have protected the strategic parts of the country, KYIV, West, some of the center. Maybe it will freeze in the state where Russia will occupy Kherson or Mariupol, and then Ukraine will not be fighting back for those territories, since that will count as escalation. I don't know, some random thoughts like that. Ukraine will protect its land to the end, so this war will not hopefully end in some frozen, stupid state. And for that, we need those weapons. I have information, I mean, it's public information that we are being supplied, and it's very nice, and I'm very thankful that finally something has shifted. It saddens me that it happened so late, and we've lost so many people. But nevertheless, that is the main priority. So I think our president and our government, media-wise, are doing a very good job, and they should keep up doing that, because the more of them, the bigger their presence in the media, the more people of our partner countries understand the urge. And he's doing a good job in terms of the messages he's giving out, the tonality, so he's not too harsh. If anything, he's not harsh enough, given the situation we're in. I know it feels like, I know it feels to a lot of foreign audiences like that you know what we're going through. You don't. I don't even. I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate that my country, my part of country is, I mean, it's not safe, but it's relatively safe. So I don't think I'm able to comprehend the severity of this situation to the fullest. But nobody can really understand. And I don't think anybody can understand what Zelensky's going through, really, because he's not new to this, but he is relatively new to this. His presidency has been filled with unimaginable stuff like COVID and then war. So I think he's doing fine. I think he could be harsher even if he wanted to. Yeah. Let's keep on reading. Де пропадала? Where have I been? I have been busy with volunteer efforts, so didn't have the time to make new videos, but hopefully now everything is kind of stabilizing, so probably I will be here a bit more. I saw French dudes fighting with the Chechens today in Mariupol. Made me sick to see this. I mean, I have little information about foreigners joining this International Legion. However, if these Frenchmen are experienced and know what they're doing, and if they're there protecting my country with us, I'm very grateful. I think everybody is, so. What do you think about partly closing of Espresso, 5th and Premay? Yeah, so I haven't really had the time to really dig deeper into this, but from what I've heard, from what the Secretary of the National Security Council has explained, they have refused to take part in this marathon that we have right now. So, I mean, every TV station is virtually showing the same content. Every TV talk show host and TV host come together. I think that those channels are still available on YouTube, so I think it's fine. But I don't know. I'm not really, I should look into these issues, but I guess if everybody else follows these rules, they should too. I don't think there's a problem with watching those channels. I think that it is still possible online. So I'm kind of, there are issues that bother me when it comes to legislation and when it comes to stuff like that. But it kind of feels that we have other priorities for now. So I'm mostly concerned with questions of, are the people safe? Are they where are the cruise missiles at? How to get food to them, how to get weapons to them, and we'll figure the rest out afterwards. Some things just, it's war. Some things happen. I think everything else will be fixed and we'll be just fine. Yes, Poland and Baltic states warned Germany, but they never listened to their eastern neighbors. Yeah, true. So Poland, our friends Poles, one of the biggest supporters of Ukraine now and before. We've had our differences. That's one of the nice stories that came out of this war, is actually the story of Ukraine-Polish relationship, because our past is difficult. We don't always agree on the same issues we don't see him the same way, and it's fine. It's just Poland has been exceptionally supportive of Ukraine in terms of Nord Stream 2. And Poland has, in fact, warned the European Union about the risks of that pipeline and was absolutely correct. And the Baltic states as well. That can be explained by the fact that those countries, like Ukraine, know what Russia is capable of. Everybody knows now, apparently. It's a shame that our Western partners sometimes won't even listen to their own partners, because literally by law they are partners. They're in the same union together, in the same security alliances. So yeah, that has been very demonstrative of old Europe's approach to their Eastern European friends. I'm just hoping that somebody learned something from this. Am I lagging, or is this, sorry, because I'm seeing on my computer that there's some lag. Is the stream fine? Maybe just my computer, I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Oh, there's something going on in the chat. That's interesting. Let's see. What do you think about 7176 removes foreign representatives from supervisory boards? Yeah, Yerema gives a very good explanation in the comments here that there is an issue with this legislation, that you would be able to remove them. It looks weird. I agree with you. However, you know, my brain has been largely concerned with the war. So we'll see about that. I know that under the guise of war, that there is a risk of some weird legislation being passed in the parliament. However, you know, we'll see about this. How can we persuade people in the West that Putin is literally the next Hitler, that it's not a regional conflict, but an apogee of Russian fascist state? Easy, show them pictures from Bucha. If that is not a complete and full illustration of Putin being next Hitler, then I don't think, I think the situation is dire. The issue is that I don't know how can one not see this problem the way it is. How can someone keep calling this a regional conflict and so on? Literally, cruise missiles strike my country every day. And not from, you know, it's not like a shelling from, I don't know, TOS-1 system or something. Literally, cruise missiles from Russian territory shelling my country. And indiscriminately. So not just, shelling, striking military installations is also an act of war, right? Because shelling any part of any country is sort of unacceptable. I hear this a lot. People who defend Russia go, well, they're not targeting civilians, they're targeting military installations and military infrastructure. How is that making anything better? It's our military infrastructure. It belongs to us. It's in my country. So even if they only struck military infrastructure, would this make this war any better? No. But no, they're deliberately striking civilian population with missiles, and then also their military personnel, after invading Ukraine, literally shot people in the back of their heads. So yeah, I don't know what else I can help you with in that regard. I mean, I have this slight suspicion, and I think I'm not the only one, that thing that happened in Bucha was a mistake on Russian operations part, meaning that they didn't hide it in time. They had to retreat, and they left it the way it was left. If they were giving more time there, I think they would burn all those bodies and hide them better, so there wouldn't be such a international scandal. And I think that's what they are and will be doing in the occupied territories, sadly. So I think those mobile crematoriums, that is not something that was made up. I think it's a real thing. I'm sure of it. So it's just a matter of time. The atrocities are ongoing. It's not like it's gonna go away. Are you sure the stream isn't lagging? But yeah. Sorry for that. It's the internet. I'm in a country that's at war. The internet's bound to break up a bit. Hitler's support in Germany only came to an end when German cities got bombed. Only then they started to question their leader, says Paul Meets World. Oh, is the area alert cancelled? Is it? Is it?
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, that's good news. That's good news. Does it worth to mention that it also goes through Russia? What the point? I don't know what you're talking about here, but I don't know what's, also, let's just make this perfectly clear. I don't care about Russia. I don't care about Russian people. I don't care about their economy. I don't care if they're suffering. I know it sounds horrible to some of the more liberal people and that might be listening or that might not be aware of the situation. I don't care. And I won't care. They have brought it on to themselves. Furthermore, they support their government. There have been so many intercepted calls of Russian wives and their husbands in the military. I have read so many posts from Russians online. They love it. They want to kill Ukrainians. They think Ukrainians shouldn't exist. So why should I care to whatever happens to them? So just, that's a little disclaimer. Hope whoever is not satisfied with that answer, I think we could have a discussion about this. Feel free to ask more. Solving the problem with Russia is crucial for surviving a democracy worldwide. Yeah, just solving the problem of any kind of authoritarian regime is crucial to the democracy worldwide. As long as you have bullies, you can't thrive. But also, bullies only understand force. You can't negotiate with bullies. You can't bring them to justice with words and sanctions. You can only arm those who have to defend themselves against those bullies and defeat them, the bullies. So that's the only way. And that's what every sensible government should be thinking about. It's a cool feature that Google and Ukrainian government did the collaboration and provides all the Android users alert notifications. Yeah, we have so many apps for that right now. Government issued, private, all of them. Very, very, very interesting. And hopefully the world won't need them, but it's a good, I mean, I know for a fact that in the US and Japan, I think they have those alerts somehow installed. And so, but yeah, it's helpful. Why have Ukraine not dropped bombs on Moscow yet, so all Russia realizes that the war is real? A, we don't have, I mean, I don't know if we have those military capabilities. I think we don't. B, we don't bomb other countries. That is what, I mean, we kind of do. It just sounds, why don't you just bomb the hell out of Russia? Well, I don't know. Maybe because they will bomb us back with the nuclear weapon. I trust my general staff of Ukrainian armed forces. I know what they're doing. If they are not striking Moscow yet, I assume there are reasons for that. And so yeah, I support whatever they've been doing in Belgorod. If they did that, they are neither confirmed nor denied that. I support everything that my military general staff does. And if they did not bomb Moscow yet, it means that's not the time for that yet. So there's my answer for you. Do you think that Russia will crumble before your hair turns gray? I sure hope so. I don't know. My hair is already kind of grayish in places. You can't see it because it's like super light. But yeah. Apologies from Germany for a stupid government. Most of the population supports your request for tanks. Thank you, Mr. Testboga. We appreciate your support. How do you think about the EU? As a concept, very nice. On practice, problematic, since most of the agreements and values that we kind of decided to share between the EU and Ukraine have kind of, I don't want to say redundant, but EU needs to man up a bit. I hope they'll learn something from this. I really hope so. I used to be a very big Euro optimist and very big support. I still am, in a way, just it's a bit different. But European Union has to learn from this if they want to protect their integrity, their sovereignty. I mean, I hope France, for instance, learns from this. So you guys with your elections, if there are some French people listening, I do not like Macron. That guy has proven to be useless. But the other one, I don't want to even say her name. Oh, she's a Russian shill. She'll sell you out. Don't doubt that. So I hope the EU kind of learns from our Ukraine-Russia experience now and see that there's no place for pro-Russian sentiment in the European Union. So please bear that in mind. Do you consider Germany as Ukrainian ally in this war? It's a tough question, Andy. More yes than no still. I mean, they did express support. It's just their actions don't always mirror what they're saying. So for now, I think still yes. However, yeah, the whole shebang with the pipeline, I think German government is making a huge mistake, keeps making mistakes. And so if they keep doing that, that will endanger us. And if something endangers us, it means that person is no longer an ally. So we'll have to see. I love the fact that somebody under the name of Regiment Azov is commenting on this. We'll see. Also, if anybody from Azov members' families watching this, тримайтеся. Those guys have been amazingly brave in Mariupol, and every single soldier from Ukrainian military and also Azov Regiment in Mariupol, you have my highest respect for what you're doing. Thank you for defending the city. One day NATO's patience will run out, and then it will be time to confront the Russian Federation with the full force of our armed forces. Waiting longer would be fatal. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think they still get it. I mean, I really don't want the classic World War III for the world, because I would never wish any country the stuff we're experiencing now. I really don't. It's terrible. But if they don't learn their lessons, they'll get it either way, so. So, a question in Ukrainian. Багато хто до останнього не вірив, що вторгнення таке відбудеться, що саме недооцінили, чи переоцінили, чи просто не взяли до уваги в прогнозах. So many people did not believe till the end that the escalation, the full-on invasion will happen. What exactly did they not pay attention to in their prognosis? I was the one like that. You know, there have been, I mean, everybody told us, and there have been red flags all over the place. I was one of the people who did not believe till the very end that the war would happen. I was mistaken. Good thing I wasn't in charge of the country, because I mean, I don't know what I would think then, but yeah, I was wrong. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't, like, I can say from my point of view, maybe I'm just human and I did not want to believe something that horrible. Yeah, that's all I can say. It's a human factor. I mean, it's not that like Ukraine wasn't preparing. I mean, if Ukraine wasn't prepared, the outcome of the first assaults would have been very different. So obviously our general staff and our government were preparing. I didn't believe until the 23rd, after Putin's first speech. That's when I felt, okay, I'm sorry, what? Okay, sorry, it's technical issues. Let us rise together and show commitment to finally neutralize the regime of Russian Federation. We must no longer accept the dangers that it may... Yeah, Russia has to go down. That's the only reason how you win. It's just, I'm just gonna take it as the overall sentiment of this stream is that downfall of Russia is crucial to the success of humanity. Thank you. For years, we've been forced to submit to the propaganda and manipulations from the regime of Moscow. What? Yeah. Let's find some more of those nice questions. Oh, I can see somebody... Some Russians in the chat?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Great. Okay, let's take a break from questions for a bit. And I want to tell you something. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Я знаю, що підвисає. I know it's lagging, but you have to bear with me. The internet obviously is not doing that great right now. So I hope the sound is okay. Is the sound okay? Okay, so you have to, I'm sorry, you have to bear with us. The internet is usually quite great where I am staying from previous streams, some of you will know, but now I guess it's a bit over, I don't know how to say that. Anyway, so it's normal for a country where there's a war to have laggy internet. I'm sorry, but I'll try to fix it somehow till next stream. I want to tell you something else, something that was really important to me. So Mykolaiv was under attack all evening, which is terrible. And again, it's happening. Like we're sitting here talking like friends, okay? And I'm in my hallway. And it all feels pretty weird, but I just want you to think about, like, while you're listening to me ranting about stuff, I want you to think about the people of Ukraine right now who are less fortunate than I am, and just keep that in mind. I can give you a little excursion into my life here. This morning was the second time that I have heard an explosion from a cruise missile. The first one happened some time ago when they hit a tank plant in Lviv, not that far away from here. It was a bang somewhere in the city, so, but like today it was a bit different. The place that has been struck by a missile is maybe less than a kilometer away from my home. A friend of mine, he was at home and he was pretty shocked because his apartment was shaking and everything. And it just happened today, we had like 4 of those strikes. I'm sorry, 7 people dead, but I can only imagine Kharkiv and Mykolaiv that have been struck a lot. And the residential buildings and everything. Kyiv, same goes for Kyiv. First couple of days of war, those buildings with apartments in them. So it's important to me that I kind of explain this to you, because it's not a movie. I couldn't begin to explain to you, because I don't think I'm qualified to explain to you what it feels like when your home is ruined. You like your apartments, right? You live in whatever, Germany, United States, Poland, I don't know. You like your apartment. I like my apartment. I've put a lot of work into my apartment. It's a cozy place that I love. And imagine losing that. Imagine having a little house in a little KYIV suburb where my dog is from Irpin, one of the cities that have been under occupation in the KYIV region. I went to Irpin to pick her up 3 years ago. Let me show you this sweet little puppy. Yes? There you go. See? She's a bit sleepy. See? I have a little doggo. Her name is Summer. She's a border collie. And she was born in Irpin 3 years ago in April. Literally celebrated her 3rd birthday. And I went to pick her up, and that was my first time that I ever went to Irpin. And it's such a beautiful place. There's a forest there, little houses. People are very nice. It was like a little nice, comfy place to live in, with, you know, people having this like middle income. And it was nice. And I thought, Jesus, and I wrote on Twitter, I think on my previous account, I was like, I really want to buy a house here someday if I could afford it. But it was beautiful. And I came there again to meet her, and then I came to pick her up like a month later. And I remember driving through that like forested area, and I fell in love with the little city. And I tweeted a lot about it jokingly, like, oh, I wish I was in Irpin right now. And I remember it very vividly, and I don't think I can ever, and me, a person who's just been there like 2 times, I don't think I can ever come there again and look at it the same way. I cannot imagine with these people in Bucha, Irpin, and Borodyanka, how will they ever go back to their homes? How can a person live there anymore? Even if everything is okay and when we win the war, and if everything is cleared out, how do you come back and live there? So just think of it for a second, and maybe then, you know, then my stream, I think, would be successful. Another issue that I'm really concerned with, and something I have been trying to talk about on Twitter and to my friends from abroad, and I have been on my fair share of interviews on Fox News and MSNBC, both camps. There's like CNN, Time magazine. I always tell them the same thing. Some of it goes on air, some of it doesn't. It's just, it feels to me like the moment Putin dies and he's no longer alive, I have a fear that everything will be forgiven. Because #not all Russians. And that bothers me. I know that is so far away still. Putin's sadly still alive and well. And Russia is still there bombing my country and killing my people. But I fear that, you know, once he's dead, killed or died out of natural causes, I don't care. Once they withdraw troops, maybe, I think everybody's waiting for that moment just so everything can be forgiven, just so that the collective West can spend money on rebuilding democracy in Russia. You know, we need to help them because they've been under oppression for so long, poor Russian people. And I just want to make sure that to make people from abroad understand that this is not, Ukrainians would never accept that. And I hope everybody understands that. And I hope that, And I hope that this sentiment is not at least shared, but understood, is that we cannot forgive. And I hope the world doesn't forgive, because you can't forgive things like that. I hope that the issue of fixing Russia for most Westerners is not an issue of fixing Putin. Because some things are obvious. Yes, obviously, Putin and his gang of, Що сталося? Злітає стрім? Та говори, це не страшно. Можна говорити вже чи? Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, so I just, you know, I hope I have. I know I'm ranting a little bit, but I hope that this sentiment is understood. That it's not just a matter of fixing the Putin. It's about this entire baggage thing that comes with it, and fixing Russia is not just a matter of fixing one politician. So it'll take time, and I hope that with the new pipeline, or with new government in Russia, or with new something they come up with, or even if they withdraw their troops, I hope that this war is not something that'll be forgotten easily. I have had some questions on Twitter, so I want to come back to that and see what was that over there. There were some legitimate questions here.
Wait.
Що він злітає? Я не можу зрозуміти, що
Ступить.
це від чого? Це від того, що комп'ютер не витягує, чи інтернет? Що?
Напевно, комп'ютер швидше.
У мене все зависло. Не Паша? А звук іде?
Сам трохи ламається.
Щось працює чи ні? Тось, кажи, що робити? Не панчого?
Я чекаю трохи.
Може, скинь трохи якість, чи що?
Спробуй.
Я вже чую. Sorry. Technical issues. We've lost a bunch of viewers. Okay. Yeah, I think my most important message has been lost, or wasn't it?
Yeah. Part of it.
What was the last thing they heard? Sorry.
You can ask.
What was the last thing you heard in my ranting about fixing Russia problem? Okay, anyway, so my point being that is I hope that nobody forgets about what Russia did even when Putin is away. The technical part is letting me down today. Is it lagging again?
The video, yeah.
The video is whatever, the sound. Does it sound fine? Because I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Is what, 10 seconds behind? Okay. Anyway, if the sound is fine, let's keep on talking. So I have had some legitimate questions on Twitter. So I'm looking through that right now. Somebody was asking me about volunteer efforts. What if I have money or something? And what do I do? What do I buy? Let me see that question. The question was, the question was, I have the skill of volunteer initiative with a budget of 100,000 hryvnias per month, but the needs I receive far exceed such opportunities. A few words in general about the direction in which to develop. Thank you. So everybody receives the needs that far exceed their opportunities. That has to do both with big foundations and smaller ones. What you can do is you have to say no to some people, sadly. So you have to only supply those who you can supply, and that is okay, and you cannot help everyone. Being a volunteer does not mean kind of taking on a part of the Ministry of Defense. They still have their job. The Ministry of Defense main job is to supply the military. So they need to do this. You cannot be a Ministry of Defense. You can only help those that you can help. You should only help those that you know need that help. So you know these people require that, and they're not, you should always check up with people in the military that you trust. And it's okay not to be able to provide for everyone. It's fine. I know it sucks and I know it feels terrible. But because we all want to buy stuff for everybody and we all need money for that. But it's okay not to be able to be Ministry of Defense. So take care of yourself. It's a good thing to have 100,000 hryvnias per month to help volunteers. And if you have an option to purchase something for them from abroad and stuff like that, that is great and you should be doing that. Or if you see that you're not managing it very well, please donate that money to the initiatives that are able to do so. Mostly I recommend Serhiy Pratula Foundation that I work with, and then also Back and Alive, a great military foundation concerned with all these issues. Very famous, very efficient, very successful, know what they're doing. So that is something that I would recommend you guys do. And then the other question was, what will be the little thing you do once the war is done? I'm gonna go hiking in the mountains. I really like doing that, so I will be doing that. Also, I'm gonna buy myself a little purse, a nice one. I'm a girl, bear with me. What was the weird thing when you almost died coughing recently? Looked scary, but the memes were fire. Yeah, so I had what was that? How do you call that in English? I had, what do you call that disease? Inflammation of airways, not lungs, but I forgot it in Ukrainian too. Bronchitis. So yeah, because the warehouse was cold and I was cold and it was winter and not enough sleep, not enough rest, not enough food. I had bronchitis, I had a terrible cough, fever, everything for 2 weeks. I'm still coughing a lot, but it's better now. Let's come back to the chat. Пояснити свободу слова для вестернів і чому закриття КПУ і ПЗЖ – це для нас життєве рішення, хоча б на прикладі Освальда Мослі, британських фашистів. Okay, so yeah, okay, maybe that's important, I don't know. So Ukraine has banned the Communist Party of Ukraine. And also, I think the Party of Regions, so-called the opposition bloc for life. So the previous, before Zelensky, before Poroshenko, we had President Yanukovych, Revolution of Dignity, remember all of that. So these people were the main pro-Russia propagandist, lobbyists, enemies virtually. So we had to ban the Communist Party, and that other party, the opposition party, had to be disbanded because they were a threat to national security of Ukraine, period. It is not that we are fighting the opposition. They're not opposition. Petro Poroshenko is opposition to Zelensky, or whatever, or Partia Holos Party in the parliament. Sure, they're in opposition to the government. Oppositional Platforma za Життя, OPZZ, Party of Regions, communists, and everything else, they're not opposition, they're pro-Russian agents in Ukraine with Russian influence, Russian money, Russian power, and should not be allowed, not only in Ukraine, but also other countries, because if you get them in your country then gets struck by cruise missiles. That's a good lesson to learn. Communists shouldn't exist the same way Nazis don't. For some reason, after the World War II, people made this twisted, perverted contest of trying, like, who's worse, the Nazis or the communists? Who was the better country, Third Reich or the USSR? And you know, Hitler and everything kind of won that contest, but it's not a contest. It's a stupid contest with no winners. The atrocities committed by the USSR and the atrocities committed by their rightful next generation thing that is Russia, you cannot compare who's worse. Obviously, the USSR was as cannibalistic of a regime as the Third Reich. They did the same things: genocides, famines, mass murders, everything. So it's not a contest. And for me, it has always been this inexplicable idea of why the Nazi party is banned, but the communists aren't. I mean, look at China. They have concentration camps. Why aren't communists? Why are they still accepted as valid members of political society is beyond me. Is beyond me. Why isn't a hammer and sickle banned the same way the swastika is? The same things. They're the same. They're the same. I know there will probably some tankies will appear in the chat and start telling me how everything I know about the Soviet Union and communism is not real and how it was so much different and how Nazis are so much worse. No, it's not a contest. Nobody's a winner here. Nobody's worse or better. Both horrible, hateful regimes that thrive on killing people. So, communist parties shouldn't exist, and I'm very thankful to all Ukrainian governments, both of them, who A, accepted that as a fact and made it into a bill, into a law, and B, that have continued this great tradition and are not changing that. I mean, not even an issue anymore. Every Ukrainian knows what that means. Yes, so what is your take on Medvedchuk's future? I hope he dies. I don't care. He's one of the, he's responsible, one of the more responsible. Took money from Russians, lobbied their things. Also, he's just, it's always the matter of, he's so dumb, like all of them are. Every single Russian agent that has worked in Ukraine is so unimaginably stupid that you can't even, you know, like give him a shadow of a doubt, like, oh, well, that was clever of them. We couldn't, no, they're dumb. And I hate them for not only the fact that they brought this upon us and helped Russia, but also because they're so dumb and stupid. And there's nothing to respect there, and I really don't care. I hope he suffers. Yeah, now I'm reading the fact that everybody is freaking out about the stream. Yada, 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 bronchitis, sore throat. Yeah, thank you. Did you find those? Oh, somebody taught me today how to read the name of the bread. Sakani? I think so. I want the Zelensky's wearing those sneakers that I really want, and they're all very big because they're made for men. They're like camo sneakers. Saucony. I keep forgetting the name, how to pronounce it properly. I was looking for those sneakers. Really cool. So, Mel, could you tell us any cool story that happened in shelter or corridor? So, corridor is kind of this funny name for a hallway that people hide in when there's air raid attacks. Yeah, I can tell you a funny story from a shelter. So we were in our warehouse, and then there was air raid siren, and there were missile strikes. So we all went to the shelter, and with our volunteers for the Serhiy Prytula Foundation. And Serhiy Prytula, he is a celebrity, a very famous. People love him in Ukraine, and so he was coming to visit. And I did not tell my volunteers, and I came up to meet him, and he was like, I want to go downstairs and say hi. I was like, yeah, great, sure, let's do that. So everybody's sitting in the shelter, hiding, freaking out a bit because just 2 missiles struck a oil base in Lviv. And then Serhiy comes in, and everybody just stared at him because they didn't know how to react, because you're in this weird situation where you're hiding from a missile, but also this guy you've seen on TV and you love comes in, and what do you do? So but this is the extent of fun stories from shelters that I have for you. Because I have been so busy with all of this, I have funny stories from our warehouse in the first couple of weeks when we were receiving aid, and that included some clothing. And the items of clothing I have received were amazing. That included a ballerina tutu and a bunch of sheriff's hats. So people would send a whole bunch of stuff, obviously not very useful for people who have lost their homes and stuff, but nevertheless, brought our spirits up a little bit. So that was fun. Where is Murayev? I don't know. I hope somewhere not comfortable for him. Murayev is one also pro-Russian politician in Ukraine. Obviously, after our victory in this war, Russians won't stop. A new round will come until fundamental shift of their society and regime. Yeah. On the other hand, invading Moscow by Ukrainian army and change of regime doesn't seem a realistic option. What is your vision of Ukrainian strategy for preventing a new round of war? Yes. Yeah. I don't think Ukrainian army will and should invade Russia, because we are not Russian. We don't invade other countries. We may hate Russia, but Russia is a sovereign state, and we shouldn't invade Russia because that is stupid. We should get our territories back from Russia that they have temporarily occupied, and that should be the end of it. I really don't care. Russia should be fixed, but I have no recipe how to fix something like that. I don't know. I really don't. I don't think there's a military solution to this. I don't think that disbandment of Russia is the solution to this. I don't know, really, guys. If I knew how to fix Russia, I would probably tell someone at this point, and they would probably do it. For now, the priority is to protect Ukraine and to drive Russians out of Ukraine, and the rest we'll figure out later. Yeah, so the brand is called Saucony. Yes, so Saucony. Okay, I'm not good at reading those fancy names. Okay. Something else I wanted to discuss. Oh, hello. Do you want to say hi? Yes? Is little doggo? People on streams always want to see the doggo, so there we go. She wanted to show herself. Yes? Oh, this is my computer here. She wants to lie down, sorry. Now I have to hold my computer in my hands because my puppy wants to sit on my knees. I wanted to tell you something else today, something very interesting. I will come back to it later because it's important, even though it's news from Russia. Let's talk about Navalny for a second, because I've done something stupid the other day. I have watched the CNN documentary about him. Jesus, I raped my brain. And I decided it was a good idea to watch this documentary that CNN and HBO Max and something Christogroziev all together made about him. like his last days of freedom after poisoning before going to war, and everybody was super excited about the documentary. I think Hugh Grant tweeted about it, saying like, oh my God, such a great piece of work. So, and funny and tragic at the same time. So I was like, okay, what's up? So I watched it. There was nothing I didn't know before. But the issue of Navalny is something that I would like to address, since everybody keeps talking about the guy. Especially German, was the chancellor, though, like one day after Bucha wrote, like, I think it was German chancellor, I'm not sure. Yeah, so he wrote something like, I saw pictures from Bucha today, tragic and horrifying. In times like this, I think about Navalny. I mean, he meant that if Navalny was president, then atrocities in Bucha wouldn't happen. And it was kind of despicable because, well, why would you think about some random Russian politician guy when you see dead Ukrainian bodies that Russians have obviously made happen? But also, I want everybody else to understand that Navalny is not some magic fix-everything guy. Well, if he is president of Russia, then Russia will stop attacking Ukraine and all of that. That is obviously false. He is a Russian nationalist. Somebody found a bunch of his tweets today where he, back in 2015, we had Ilovaiski Kotel, which was like in a battle in the east of Ukraine where a bunch of Ukrainian soldiers were surrounded by Russians and murdered en masse. And so he was calling us khokhle, which is a derogatory term for Ukrainians that Russians love to use. And by the way, Twitter doesn't ban for that, right? So you can call Ukrainians all sorts of names and Twitter will not ban you for hate speech. Something to consider. And then he has no problem using those derogatory terms. And then he was one of the advocates of not arming Ukraine more. And also he's a Russian nationalist, so his interests are not, and also the infamous Crimea is not a sandwich comment when they asked him about whether he would give, could you not walk? Sorry, the dog is walking all over the place. Like, would he give Crimea back to Ukraine if he was president? And he said that Crimea is not a sandwich to be handed back and forth. And so I just wish people would stop bringing him up as some kind of savior for Ukraine and Russia, because he's not. He doesn't care. Today, one of his, what was it, like headquarters members or something, wrote this message like after the cruise missile struck Lviv today. Ivan Zhdanov, he's an ex-member of Navalny's team, he wrote, I don't understand, somebody please explain to me, one caliber, so one cruise missile, costs $6.5 million, and they're sending it away for 1,000 kilometers to like destroy a car, like warehouse fixing place in Lviv. What's the logic? Are they stupid? So he wasn't appalled by the fact that Lviv was struck by a cruise missile, or that Lviv was, that Ukraine's at war with Russia. No. He was bothered by the fact that $6.5 million were wasted on something that was not a part of critical infrastructure, so not a military object. Not enough people died, apparently, for the price of $6.5 million. So it's very important that I hope you guys understand this, and I hope you can look into this a bit further. The dog keeps No, don't do that. She's sniffing the camera. Yeah. Sit. Come here. Sit. Okay, thank you. You stupid doggo. You're bored. You want to play. You don't want to sit here anymore, no? Yeah, okay. Anyway, so please look into that guy, because he is not what he seems to be, and stop bringing him up when talking to Ukrainians about Russian politics, because Navalny won't fix anything. Yes? I'm listening. Can you not? She's gonna stare at you have to apologize. I mean, lежать. Good girl. Sorry. Yeah, so that's just a thing that I wanted to mention too, because that's so annoying. I was like, oh, well, what if Navalny was president? Well, I don't care. If Navalny was president, Russia would have a different president. I don't think anything would change for Ukraine drastically. Okay, listen, it's been what? An hour and 15 minutes. Let's look at some more of comments. Yeah. So, listen, guys, I was very happy to talk to you. I'm so sorry for the technical issues we were having. It's a matter of, again, a country at war. I'll try to fix it somehow till the next time we talk. Again, please, I want to remind you to subscribe to this channel, and also please support this channel financially. You can find all the details in the description. I have to eat, so that is very important. I think we will keep this tradition. I will do some streaming from time to time when I figure out what's wrong with the, if it's the internet or if it's the computer dying or if it's the camera. So I'll figure it out, and I think we will do this a bit more. Also, I have this idea of hosting a Twitter space on the same topic, so please let me know if you think that would be a good idea. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So she's arguing, but she wants me to stop streaming at this point. Okay, so thank you very much for having the time to pay attention to what I had to say. This video will be uploaded on my channel too, so please share it among your friends. Yes, I'm okay. It's okay. We're almost done.